So in this section what we're going to do is to solve the pair of equations, which is to say find the point which is common to both equations, but we're going to do so without drawing the lines, which can be a bit of a nuisance. Now this is an easy example to work with. You'll notice, I hope, that we have a plus 4x here and a minus 4x here. So by combining the two equations we can get rid of the x term altogether, which is really what we want to do. If I add equation 1 plus equation 2, what I get is 5y plus 3y, which is to say 8y, plus 4x and minus 4x gives me 0, and 14 plus 2 gives me 16. Now that's exactly the sort of thing we want, because if 8y equals 16 then y equals 2. We can get that without any fuss. What I'm going to do then is to sub that value of y equals 2 into one or other of the two equations. I'm just going to choose equation 1. So 5 times 2 plus 4x equals 14. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 4x equals 14. If I take 10 away from both sides, I have 4x equals 4 and x equals 1. Now the solution then is x equals 1 and y equals 2. Or we could express it as x equals 1 and y equals 2. So we've found the point which is common to both equations. We've solved the pair of equations and we've done so without sketching. This second example, just a bit more difficult than the first one. Why is it more difficult? Because the first example, if you remember, we had a plus 4x and a minus 4x. So by adding the two equations I could get rid of the x terms. But you can see I've got 2x here and 3x, so those two numbers are not the same. I've got 6 here and a 2 here, so those numbers are not the same. How then do we get to have the same number of x or y? Well, that's a reasonably simple thing to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this minus 2y term to be equal to 6y, and I can do that by multiplying by 3. Now what I can't do is multiply just the one term by 3, so I have in fact got to multiply the whole of this second equation. And when I do that, I get 3 times 3x is 9x. 3 times minus 2y is minus 6y. 3 times minus 1 is minus 3. I'm going to call that equation 3 because it's different from equation 2. And what I'm going to do, just to assist my working, is write equation 1 underneath, so the two equations are together. Now I hope you can see that we now have a plus 6y and a minus 6y. So that takes us back to the situation we were in with example 1. What I'm now going to do is to add the two equations. So maybe I should point out now for the first time, if the signs are different signs, we add. So equation 1 plus 3, 9x plus 2x is 11x, minus 6y plus 6y 0y minus 3 plus 36 is 33. Divide by 11 and x equals 3. As with the first example, I'm going to substitute this value back into equation 1, equation 2, equation 3, it doesn't really matter. Equation 1 is fine, so 2 lots of x, 2 lots of 3, plus 6y, so 6 plus 6y equals 36, 6y equals 30, and y equals 5. And that's the equation solved. This third example is just a bit more complicated than the second one. You'll notice that we've got a 3x here and a 2x here, so those are both different. We've got a 4 here and a 3 here, so those are both different. In example 2, I was able to multiply one of the equations so that we could have the same number of x or y. That we cannot do here. So what we have to do is to multiply both equations. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to choose to eliminate y from both equations, which means I want to have the same number of y. Now, I've got 4 here and a 3 here. So what I could do is I could multiply this equation 1 by 3. That would give me a 12y. And I can multiply this equation here by 4. And that would give me a 12y. So I'd have the same number of y. Multiply the whole of equation 1 by 3, so 9x plus 12y equals 30. Could call that equation 3. Equation 2 multiplied by 4, so that's 8x minus 12y, so we've now got the same number of y. 4 times 1 is 4. Now remember what I said. If the signs are different, but the numbers are the same, then you add. So equation 3 plus equation 4. 9x plus 8x, 17x, plus 12y minus 12y, 0. 30 plus 4 is 34, and 17 divides into 34 2 times. As with examples 1 and 2, what I'd like to do now is to find the corresponding value of y. Now that I know x, I'm going to substitute x equals 2 into equation 1. I could use 2, but let's just use equation 1. So 3 times 2 plus 4y equals 10. So 6 plus 4y equals 10. If I subtract 6 from both sides, 4y equals 4 and y equals 1. And my solution then is x equals 2 and y equals 1. Last example is a problem-solving type question taken from the textbook. We've got some information which we can use to form a pair of equations and then solve the equations. So Miss Spencer bought 3 packs of white paper and 2 packs of coloured paper and found she had 1200 sheets of paper. Now what we could do is we could say white paper equals W, and coloured paper equals C. So we've chosen a couple of letters. So 3 packs of white paper then, 3 packs of white, 3W, plus 2 packs of coloured, 2 lots of C, and that gives us 1200. Second equation, 4 packs of white and 5 lots of coloured, and that's 2300. Now, what's the easiest thing to do? I don't know. I'm going to choose to eliminate. I think I'll eliminate W. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to have to multiply equation. So I've got a 3 here and a 4 here. If I multiply equation 1 by 4 and equation 2 by 3, that will be sufficient to give me what I want. So 4 times 3, that's 12W. 4 times 2 is 8C, and that's 4800. Three times equation 2, 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. And that's 6,900. So I've got a 12W and a 12W. Now that's a plus 12 and a plus 12. So the signs are, this is interesting, signs are the same. And that means we subtract. Now, I hope you can see what signs I'm talking about. This is a plus 12 here, and this is a plus 12 here, although the plus isn't written. So I'm going to subtract now. Why don't we have equation 4 minus equation 3. 12W minus 12W is 0. 15C, take away 8C. 15 take away 8 is 7C. 6900, take away 4800 is 2100. So C, if I divide by 7, I get C equals 300. What I want to do then is to pop that back into one of the initial equations. I could use equation 1. And so 3 lots of W plus 2 lots of C, 2 lots of 300. And that's 1200. So 3W take away 600. 3W equals 600. And W equals W equals 200. I'm just gonna have to take a new page for this part of the solution. So W equals 200. .300 sheets of coloured. Just to finish off, you should really state quite clearly. So it's 200 sheets. And 300, I think it was 300.